Want more Gators Breakdown? Join Gators Breakdown Plus. Starting at $3 a month, get access to unique episodes, plus a blog, chat room, giveaways, shout-outs, and more. Gators Breakdown Plus is furthering the interaction with fans and listeners like you. Head to gatorsbreakdown.supportingcast.fm to join Gators Breakdown Plus today. Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Coming at you, hey, pretty quick, just to kind of update you. We're going to continue this class of 2023 a bit with On3 updating their final rankings, and pretty good for the Gators. Eugene Wilson, he's now a 5-star. Jakeem Jackson, Kelby Collins, big risers in the On3 class of 2023 final rankings. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll get into it right here on Gators Breakdown on YouTube. You guys, that support goes so far in the likes and the subscribes here on YouTube. And also, if you want to support even more, you can join Gators Breakdown Plus. A lot of good conversation going on this topic right now in the Discord. Link is in the description to join. So, all right, let's get right into it. Eugene Wilson, hey, he leads the way. He's the highest ranked player for Florida in the On3 final 2023 rankings. He is the 32nd ranked player, and he is the last 5-star on On3. Gators get a 5-star right here. He is the lone 5-star in this class, of course. And he's one of 9 players to earn their 5th star in the final On3 rankings. And On3 thinks highly of Eugene Wilson, as do I. And you'll hear why. I mean, this description that they give of him is going to get you even more excited for one Eugene Wilson. But as I said, On3, is the 32nd ranked player. The next highest ranking, they did On3 did a comparison. 24/7 Sports only has Eugene Wilson as the 112th ranked player. So there's some disparity between the two major recruiting outlets here in the industry. But Eugene Wilson gets this comparison on On3. His argument as one of the more skilled receivers in this cycle. He is highly coordinated, just a really silky smooth mover, both as a route runner and after the catch. He has very good ball skills. He's around 5'11", could play in the slot, but I think he has the speed to also play outside. He runs an electronically timed 40-yard dash in the 4.4 second range. And really, I think is one of the toughest covers that we've ever seen in this cycle. On a per-game basis, he's very productive. For his size, for a sub-6-foot receiver, he has outstanding ball skills, just a natural in every way. You see that as well when he plays corner. He's just a guy who's always around the ball. He's winning in contested situations. That's from On3 Director of Scouting and Rankings, Charles Power. And they also give this NFL comparison to Eugene Wilson. They did this with their 5-stars, and that is one Chris Olave. Recently at Ohio State, now for the New Orleans Saints. And the reasoning for that comparison, Eugene Wilson's coordination, elite change of direction, and ball tracking ability remind us of Chris Olave. Wilson is around an inch shorter than Olave and is a two-way standout as a receiver and corner. Olave had strong track times and saw his recruitment take off after a huge senior season. So we know Gators need help at wide receiver. They now have a 5-star in the fold, at least according to On3. And if we're picking a receiver as a true freshman to come in and contribute right away, it just might be Eugene Wilson. All right, followed up with the 3 headliners from On3. Jakeem Jackson and his big jump in the rankings. He jumped 51 spots from 91st to 40th overall. Only 8 spots away there from Eugene Wilson. So 8 spots away from 5-star status is Jakeem Jackson. And look, you guys know it. I've long talked about how good I think Jackson can be and is, and he kept proving that throughout the season and in the All-Star game setting as well to get this last bump. Now, this is the big one for me, and I tweeted this. It should not be overlooked. Also of note, while Florida did pursue the other cornerbacks out there, Jackson is now ranked higher than Desmond Ricks, who comes in at 43rd, and Cormani McClain now comes in at 46. So Jakeem Jackson is ranked higher. Through this whole cycle, we were looking at Cormani McClain as the can't-miss prospect, being from Lakeland, looked to be a Gator lean for a while, ended up committing to Miami, and now we'll see where he ends up. Then Desmond Ricks reclassifies. We were wondering if Florida could get him in the mix, but it doesn't matter. Jakeem Jackson, don't get me wrong, Florida targeted all those guys. You'd like to have more than just get Jakeem Jackson. But in the end, at least according to On3, Jakeem Jackson is a better player. Now, that's splitting hairs here. Jakeem Jackson at 40, Ricks at 43rd, Cormani 46. Very, very thin margins there. But at the same time, it lets you know this evaluation of Jakeem Jackson from this staff early on was pinpoint, according to the recruiting services. And I'm telling you, one of my favorite defensive back prospects the Gators have recruited in quite some time. He's been timed as fast as 10.9 seconds in the 100-meter dash, playing both ways as a senior. I mean, he could play wide receiver, honestly, guys. If Florida needed him at receiver, he could play receiver. But he played both ways as a senior, had 50 tackles, 6 pass breakups, 3 tackles for a loss, a fumble recovery, 16 receptions for 299 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2022. I mean, if he would have dedicated more time to receiver, no doubt in my mind, he has the athleticism to be a pretty good college wide receiver. But his NFL future is at DB. He can be excellent as a defensive back. But dynamic two-way star for Osceola, of course. Ball skills seamlessly translate from wide receiver to the corner position. That's what I like about it. Him having that receiver background too, aggressive. No matter what, he thinks the ball is his. Caught 36 passes for 548 yards and 4 touchdowns on offense, and also secured 3 interceptions on defense in his junior season. Stands in at over just 6 foot, 180 pounds. That's Jakeem Jackson, 6'5" wingspan, top end speed and a flash. Great recovery, says On3. Ran an electronically timed 4.5740 during the spring camp circuit this past senior season. 31-inch vertical, 9'7" broad jump. About spring a year ago. So they say sky is the limit as a cover corner. Has all the physical tools and athleticism to become elite in coverage. Will need to continue physically to develop in order to become a complete player and contribute in the run game. Immense upside. This is On3 profile. Jakeem Jackson, big jump there for him. One more big jump headlines this On3 final 2023 rankings. No surprise. After dominating the Under Armour All-Star game, being named defensive MVP there, and those practices that week, defensive lineman Kelby Collins from Alabama rises 83 spots to become the 50th ranked player in On3's final ranking. So another top 50 player here for Florida, according to On3. He won 6A Defensive Lineman of the Year in Alabama last week. 10 games this past season. He recorded 101 total tackles. And get this, 20 and a half tackles for loss, according to Max Preps this past season. Florida getting a dominating defensive line. This might even be the most important recruit in this class, given we know how Florida has struggled and on the defensive front, and they may find somebody who can contribute really, really early here in Kelby Collins. Highly productive, big frame defensive lineman, says On3, who could play a number of spots along the front. 6'5", 278, 6'6" wingspan prior to his junior season. A dominant high school defensive lineman for a few seasons. Total 20 tackles for a loss, 12 sacks as a junior. I mean, his production, we knew how special he was going to be. Alabama certainly was interested. Kelby Collins is a Gator, and all the stats to bring along with it. Frequently in opposing backfield, using quick and strong hands to disengage from blocks, a fluid mover who closes quickly behind the line of scrimmage, strong run defender, chases down plays from the backside, could line up as a big defensive end or move inside at the next level, depending on his size. Lacks high end length for the position relative to other highly ranked peers. So there you go. There's the 3 headliners from On3. Their final recruiting rankings for the class of 23 update. And we'll see. Rivals, I know, has come out and said theirs will be out later this month. I'm sure 24/7 will also update their rankings for their final rankings for 2023. They're all getting them in after the All-Star games the last couple of weeks. So we'll see what the rankings aren't going to be adjusted greatly here, but maybe a spot or two. We'll see. How much does On3 play into the their On3 consensus and the 24/7 Sports Composite, and then all these rankings once adjusted again. And everybody's kind of moved on from the 2023 class. Gator fans really haven't, because part of this class and still part of On3 is Jaden Rashada. So we'll see where that ends up. But for now, Florida with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in On3's top 300. We'll go through those right quick. Number 32, Eugene Wilson gets that 5-star. Number 40, Jakeem Jackson, the cornerback. Number 50, Kelby Collins, defensive lineman. Number 54, right after Kelby Collins, Cameron James. So 2 defensive linemen basically in the top 50. Kelby Collins at 50, Cameron James 54. Also, big help on the offensive line. Roger Kearney, 67. Another wide receiver here, Aiden Mazel, comes in at 70th. Jordan Castell at safety, number 144. Coming in at 176 is Jaden Rashada, the quarterback. We'll see, of course, where that ends up. 208th ranked player is cornerback Dijon Johnson. And number 275 comes in after a good all-star week of practice. Squeezes into the top 300 at 275 is defensive lineman Will Norman. So Florida with Kelby Collins, Cameron James, Will Norman in the top 300 players in the On3 final 2023 rankings. So we knew how much of an emphasis defensive line would be, and Florida got quality and they got quantity right here along the defensive line, according to the On3 2023 final rankings. So there's a quick update right here on Gators Breakdown. Wanted to bring that good news to you. I know Gator Nation right now is kind of polarizing and living on the edge with all this Jaden Rashada news out there. And hey, look, when we can get the good news, we'll put it out there. Got you guys covered right here on Gators Breakdown. So thank you for joining me for this episode. Catch us later this week for our Graham Mertz analysis with Seth Varnador from Varnador Films. Check that out if you want to before. We just have a good conversation about Graham Mertz, the transfer portal quarterback from Wisconsin. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me for this episode.